If you've been following my channel since the beginning, and I mean like the very beginning, you'll know that I used to do a lot of PvP with the one-handed dagger. Now, not the stupid one-shot stunning build with the royal helmet, but a more standard basic cheap build. Now, the problem with the one-handed dagger is that it's theoretically terrible for PvP without running the 8.3 one-shot build because it's super easy to counter the E, and that's pretty much all it has. So I kind of stopped playing with this build for that reason, but I was reminded of a really important lesson recently, and it's that people suck at PvP. The theoretical shortcomings of the build, the easiness to counter, the one-dimensional playstyle, none of that matters if you go up against someone that doesn't know what they're doing. And there's a surprisingly high number of people that don't know what they're doing. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the one-handed dagger in PvP to get some nice fights, loots, kills, and PvP fame. But before we get into the rest of the video, I have some more free stuff for you guys. Now this time I'm going to be giving them away in a slightly different way. So along with the normal giveaway running in my Discord, I'm also going to place some codes directly in this video, such as the one hiding in a tree here that will appear for like 1 to maybe 5 frames in the video, and it's first come first serve. If you see it, enter it in as fast as possible and the first one will get the code. Otherwise you'll have to keep looking. There are 5 7-day premium codes hidden throughout this video, so make sure you find them all. Anyways, now on to the video. Let's start off by looking at our builds. For the weapon, obviously it's the one-handed dagger. With the offhand, you're going to go with the torch to get that attack speed, and cooldown reduction is also helpful, along with soldier boots, hunter jacket, and assassin hood. For food and potions, you're going to run beef stews, or really any stews, along with resistance potions. For the cape, don't run one. You're going to be going out in 4.1, so you don't really want to add more expensive things with the cape when it's not necessary. For your abilities on your dagger, you want to go Q2 Deadly Swipe along with the first W throwing blades, and for the passive you sort of have 2 options. You can either go the one that gives you bleed, the first one, which is a little bit more reliable damage, or you can go the third one, which gives you attack speed, which gives you a little bit higher potential but is less reliable than the bleed. Typically, I go with the attack speed one because I enjoy the potential to kill higher targets. For your abilities on your armor, it's all of the special ones, so the third ones along with toughness passive for your boots and balanced mind for your helmet and chest. If you want to switch something up and make the build a little bit more personalized, I would suggest looking at the helmet slot, as that's the only one that isn't essentially core to this build. The soldier boots and the hunter jacket are very, very important along with the torch. You can also run something like a mage cowl or knight helmet on the head slot as well, though I just think assassin hood is the most general best option. Okay, so moving on to the playstyle, basically the way that this build works is that when you hit R and E together and then you attack someone, if they just let you attack them, not only do you output a just insane amount of DPS, that DPS also heals you for practically the same amount, making you practically unkillable because your healing will be so high. So anyone unfamiliar with the one-handed dagger, or how it works, or how the build works, will pretty much just die before they realize what happens if they just let you attack them like that. So basically, the way that you take fights is that you pop pretty much everything at once and attack them, and then sort of see what happens. So basically you pop your Wanderlust, your Hunter Jacket, your Throwing Blades, and then your E, and you just attack them, and even if they try to sort of run away, you'll be so fast with the buff from your Throwing Stars as well as your Wanderlust, that's really hard for them to escape, so if they don't have some good way to counter the E, they'll kind of just die anyways. Now, usually people won't just straight up die to one E rotation, so after your E finishes and your first rotation is done, you essentially have 3 options. So first off, if they're pretty low from your combo and you think you can finish them with just Qs and auto attacks, just go ahead and do that pretty simply. If they're a little bit higher health, like they used some important defensive like a Cleric Cowl to get through your first E, you can instead use your Assassin Hood to sort of reset your combo and then kill them with the second rotation. Your Soldier Boots last for a really long time, so they should still be up by the time your second combo comes up, and it'll probably end around the same time as your second E ends, so you'll still have that speed to finish them off with your second rotation. The third and last option is if things aren't looking too good, like another person came along, you can just simply use the rest of your soldier boot duration to peace out, run away, and try to escape and then mount up. You should have another throwing blades available before your soldier boots end, so you can use that on like mobs and stuff as you're running as well to get even more speed. It is very, very hard for someone to catch this build when you have soldier boots and the throwing blades buff. You have so much move speed, plus your Q spam, the deadly swipes, can get you a little bit of mobility as well. So really there are only a couple builds in the game that can catch up to you. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, the weakness of this build is that it has a lot of counters that do really well against it. So pretty much anything that doesn't let you just freely auto attack your opponent is going to be pretty rough to play against. So the main counters that you're going to see are Cleric Robes and Cleric Cowls, which make it really easy to counter your E, although there's also things like Mage Robe and Fiend Cowl, which can help purge off your buffs and make it easier to kite you, as well as Stealths, going stealth when you pop your E, or knockbacks or other sort of long CC that hits you as soon as you use your combo, making you unable to attack them. And now, while these make you sort of unfavored in the matchup, don't be super scared of them, because you can deal with them decently, and if your opponent doesn't really know what they're doing with them or doesn't really recognize the strength of your build, they might be a little bit late on using them, and you can still get a lot of value out of like a 1 second long combo. What I typically like to do is if I am going to my combo and then they immediately use something like a Cleric Cowl or Cleric Robe, I go ahead and I just cancel my E and then pop my Assassin Hood right away and just get ready to kill them with the next combo instead. This is where your resistance potions can come in really handy. If you pop their Cleric Robe, they have both the defensive buff and the offensive buff, so you can pop your resistance potion and then channel your Assassin Hood, making them do less damage with that offensive buff, and less likely to use their big CC to cancel your Assassin Hood because they'll just be using it into a resistance potion. Okay, so a couple helpful tips and things for you to follow and look out for. First off, I would highly suggest doing this in the red zone, especially the red zone around Caerleon or the red zones right outside towns. This is not only where you'll find the most people, so you can quickly get into fights and things like that, but also the most people who are less familiar with PvP and maybe aren't as experienced, making them a little bit easier to kill. Now obviously hardfighting in the red zone has tons of problems, one of which is that people will sort of shadow you, stay mounted at the edge of your screen, wait for you to get into fight, and then try to third party you. You really want to shake these people off or they'll really mess with you and make it really hard to take any fights. So for this, I typically suggest going into a solo dungeon. Just find any random solo dungeon. Sometimes they'll follow you into the solo dungeon, which gives you a nice controlled 1v1 environment, which is super nice. And if not, they'll just sort of leave after they see you go into the solo dungeon most of the time. Another tip is don't be too scared about facing multiple opponents at once, especially like the 2 to 3 opponents versus just you is actually pretty good for you because it messes with your opponents psychologically, making them think that they have this overwhelming advantage and that they don't really need to try very hard in the fight because they'll just kill you. You know, you're a noob in 4.1, it's a 3v1, easy kill. However, that makes them much more likely to just face tank your combo, which makes you, as I mentioned before, insanely strong. If you're comboing somebody in cloth, you can easily out-heal 2 to 3 people's damage against you. Lastly, there's sort of a unique thing that this build can do, which is killing AFK people right outside of Caerleon. Now I'm kicking myself because I recorded late on this one, but basically sometimes there's these people that go out of Caerleon and then AFK thinking they're safe, they're inside the little bubble full of guards and stuff. However, you can heal through the guard and tower damage very comfortably, and since you're hitting an AFK, it'll be very easy to get your damage off without being interrupted, so you can essentially just kill them and then use your soldier boots and throwing blades to run away outside of the bubble and then mount up. Obviously, if it's during prime time and there's a constant flow of people, it's pretty hard to do this because they'll just dismount on you as soon as they see you killing that AFK, and it makes it a lot harder to kill them and then escape. But especially during some of the quieter times, you can get some massive like corrupted dungeon people or other random people like this Frostdram guy that I killed that are in some pretty juicy gear and kill them pretty freely. Now, last thing that I'll say is be ready to die. While you can definitely have a positive KD with this build, as you can see here, my sort of history from the days that I was doing this, it is still pretty suicidal to go solo flagged in the red zone and have dismounted fights with people in the open world, so there will definitely be times that you die. Just make sure you try to learn from them, and with a little bit of experience, you can definitely make tons of money with this and win most fights. If you like this build and it looks interesting to you, or like this video, I would highly suggest checking out this relatively new content creator, Jibekn, who uses this build a lot and is very good with it. If you want to check him out, I'll put the links to his YouTube and his Twitch in the description, or you can see them on the screen here. That's all for this video. Make sure you check out Jibekn, and I will see you in the next one.